guys. It's officially September 25, coming to you feeling good, feeling alive, feeling a little bit anxious. As I told you guys, I have a CT scan tomorrow. I have some type of tear in my lower abdomen. They're going to tell me, do I need to have surgery or do I not need to have surgery? But nonetheless, it's been painful the last couple days, but your boy motors through it, and resting and like taking it easy are not really, that's not easy for me to do, is to take it easy. And so we shall see. My CT is tomorrow at 10:45, and fingers crossed that I don't have to have surgery. But on the other side, they'll probably just tell me to rest for 4 to 6 weeks. So we shall see. We shall see, you guys. All right, so we're going to have somebody bring us out on the field as always, and I'm going to go to, let me see, before she takes this bite, I'm going to go to Mel. I'm going to go to Mel and have you bring us out on the field, share with us your sentiment, tell us what's on your mind, and bring the group out on the field on this beautiful Wednesday morning. Let's hear from you.
Oh, man. Way to catch me off guard.
I know.
Look at my oats and my egg whites. So, okay, you guys, good morning. It is Wednesday, September 25th. And guess what? The market is picking up. The interest rates just dropped 0.5%. If you've been living under a rock, like, you know, that's what's going on right now. My phone's ringing and the market is picking up. So I feel like there's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of buzz going on in the real estate market. There's so much more optimism than ever before, especially this year. It was a really hard year for us as real estate agents having to pivot. But, you know, we're doing it and we're going to make it and we're going to get out there and we're going to push through. And the most resilient ones, I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. The most resilient ones, the ones that come to group coaching, the ones that are taking notes, the ones that are practicing the script, the dialogue, the conversation, and mastering their craft are the ones that are going to succeed. 80% of real estate agents tap out within the first 2 years of getting licensed. And we're not about that life, you guys, because we're on the #1 team in the Bay Area. So let's step it up. Let's kick it up a notch. Let's make sure that we're showing up. We're making our calls. You know what? I've learned throughout my wellness journey over the past month that consistency is fucking boring, you guys. There's nothing exciting about being consistent. There's nothing fun or glamorous about showing up, making your calls, waking up at 5 a.m., sticking to your diet, sticking to your routine, sticking to, whatever it is that you committed to doing in your calendar. But the ones that do, I promise you will end up on top and they will end up being the winners of this game. So let's show up as winners and let's get out there and let's just crush the rest of this year.
God, I absolutely love this. And I wrote here, and it comes from the book Winning. If you haven't read the book Winning, we read it a couple years back in our boot camp. But he talks about winning being monotonous, right? Consistency about that being monotonous. And listen, you guys, the unsexy stuff is what's going to make you super successful. Yeah, we want to go and tour those baller homes. Yeah, we want to make that video that goes viral. But all of the unsexy stuff, that's what's going to make you successful in this business. And consistency, yeah, it's not that sexy, but I'll tell you what, it's going to move your needle forward. So I really appreciate this messaging. So before we go forward, I have Blessing. She made me aware of something just about a half an hour ago, and this person just hopped on. So Blessing, what was it that you texted me a little bit earlier that I didn't know about?
I mean, there's just someone who thought that they were going to sneak by and have a birthday today and think that we weren't going to acknowledge this. So Ashley
Jarovich, I didn't know it's your birthday, but we wanted to wish you a very happy birthday. Obviously I wish I knew when everyone's birthday was and make a big deal about it. However, thanks to Blessing, I know that it's your birthday today. So now that I'm on the spot, you'll be on the spot. I want to wish you a happy birthday. I just want to say thank you for being an incredible human. Part of what I'm going to share today came from you and something that you shared with me, but I really appreciate all of your contributions. You come here selflessly to always contribute to the group, to provide high levels of intellect about the market and about the patterns. And you do that because you truly want to help us. You never ask for anything. You do that out of the kindness of your heart because that's just the human that you are. So we want to wish you a very happy birthday. Happy last lap around the sun. I'll turn the mic over to you if you want to share anything that's, well, first off, what are you doing for your birthday? Let's go there. And then two, let's have you talk about the market. Let's have you start us off, birthday girl.
All right, good morning. So, for my birthday, I don't honestly know what I'm doing. My husband told me to dress warm wherever we're going. It's going to be in the 60s. And I do know we're finishing the day off watching an art battle in San Francisco. We got some artists that are battling each other. So, I found it on Eventbrite. I thought it would be a cool thing to do, something I normally wouldn't do. So, we're going to do that.
Wait,
Yeah,
hold on a second. Hold on a second. He told you to dress warm, but then you're going to end up in San Francisco.
in San Francisco at the end. I have no idea what I'm doing right now. He said, get in the car.
Ooh. Let's put some thoughts down below of where he's probably thinking about taking her. I'm gonna put Half Moon Bay. I don't know why. I'm just gonna put that, but that's my thought. Other people are. So let's put our thoughts on where he's taking her. But Ashley, super stoked to have you share with us what you're feeling, experiencing about the market right now, and happiest of birthdays.
Thank you. The market is picking up application wise. Now, you can tell me if it's hitting the streets yet as far as negotiations and things like that go. But application wise, my phone has not stopped ringing since the rate cut. So people are definitely warming up to coming back in the market, asking questions themselves. They're starting the conversations. So on my side, I'm seeing a lot more, even though interest rates actually went up after the rate cut. I don't know if you guys have read that, but we've been saying on this call for weeks and weeks, the interest rates went down before the rate cut when everybody started talking about it. So when they actually cut, there was some bad reports that came out that actually made mortgage rates swing the other way. Hopefully we had got our clients in before that happened. And now we're warning people, hey, they might cut again in November, they might cut again in December. When I tell you green light, I mean it. Don't wait for the news because the news is wrong. When I tell you green light, that's when mortgage rates are dipping again. So wait for my cue, and hopefully next time, if they didn't believe us this round, they will for sure believe us next round.
And I love this, but you guys have to realize that the power of influence that the media has on consumers. That's why it's so important for you guys to truly control this narrative, because despite what was the reality, they went with what they saw and what they heard. Like, oh, CNN must be right. It's time to strike now. Let's call our lender, right? Even though the interest rates didn't move and they went up, they're controlled by that narrative. And so it is so, I always would say this, and I'll say this till I'm blue in the face, that people are sheep. They're led by the shepherd, which is the media, until they meet us and they get some reality of what's actually happening in the market. So Ashley, really good stuff. I'm actually going to share an article that was dropped by Cynthia in our Slack channel. I think it was yesterday. I think it's really good because it pinpoints why this time of year is such an ideal time for consumers to purchase a home. So Ashley, I appreciate it. Let's see what the crowd has said, Ashley. So some people think you're getting taken to Monterey. Fancy rooftop in the city, Monterey, Carmel, Pacifica. I said Half Moon Bay. So we're excited to see your stories later on today to see where you actually were taken. So wonderful, really great stuff. Let's go over to Jeff. Jeff, you're center screen for me, my man. Kind of share with me what you're seeing, your sentiment, and your vantage point. Let's hear from you.
Oh, hey, everybody. Well, to much of, Ashley's point that she made, I mean, of course, even the Fed, but the media, the Fed are, and when it comes to interest rates, are lagging indicators. I mean, people are out in front of this. So, again, it's difficult, and we just have to use it to our benefit in terms of when the media does latch onto something, even though it is probably a month or 2 months behind. So, I'm excited about the fourth quarter, what's going to happen. Of course, seasonality always comes into play when we start getting into November, December, January. But if we have, the election, of course, and then the next Fed meeting is in November, and they are anticipated to cut again. So again, we're going to have this continuous news cycle where we're in this rate cutting mode. The Fed is, so we just need to again be consistent, like Mel was saying from the beginning, but be consistent with our messaging, stay out in front of the media, stay out in front of the Fed, and just kind of keep reinforcing this message. And, then, we'll stay busy and, hopefully get some more people into contract, maybe get some more listings out there so the inventory grows and really kind of push through the seasonality part of it. So we don't have hopefully that slowdown, but, yeah, stay tight with your lending partner and, get as much information from them as possible through the next few months. But, it's, exciting time in terms of the, interest rate, the direction that we're headed in.
Beautiful. I love it, Jeff. I appreciate your contribution. Let's go to Mel. You had your hand up. And then you guys, if you have any questions before Ashley gets deep into her birthday celebration and, before we get to other, sections of coaching, feel free to throw your hands up. Mel, let's go.
To Jeff's point, staying out ahead of the feds, creating the content around that on social media, I feel like I got to call a lot of realtors out. I mean, all I'm seeing right now are posts about how the interest rates have dropped, but I'm not really seeing any posts about what opportunity this creates for the buyer. A lot of realtors are making the same exact content over and over and over and over and over again. And I feel like we should step outside of the box a little bit. We should highlight the different opportunities that this is creating. We should highlight the time of the year for them. How, going into the holiday season is a slower time of year, coupled with the fact that interest rates are dropping, could create an amazing opportunity for buyers that have been on the fence or on the sidelines. So, I don't want to make the same old thing that everyone else is making, and I'm sure you guys don't either. So if anyone has any ideas of like a creative twist around this, and I'm sure Elias, you do, I'm kind of looking to take this in a little bit of a different direction and stand out from the sea of agents that are just talking about how the interest rates dropped. Because we already know that, right? We've seen that, but let's kind of change the conversation and make it a little bit more elevated.
Yeah, I really appreciate this. Here's my recommendation, and some of you may resonate with this and some of you may not, but it's okay. What I would recommend that you do is remove your face from this video. And what I would do is I would just have you sketching on a notepad. Now you just tell the editors exactly what you want to do. Take a house that is listed at $800,000 versus 2 months ago what the interest rate were, right? And just have you're writing it out, right? And that says that your payment would have been X amount. And then do the same scenario, 800,000 with today's interest rate and what that does to the payment, and then do a savings over the year and show consumers what they could potentially walk into right now versus what they could walk into 30, 60, 90 days ago, and show them on that and show them why September to October is an ideal time to buy. More inventory, there's more opportunities for them, there's more options, and a lot of people want to list their homes now because they don't want to deal with it through the holidays. So what that means is that our buyers are going to have more options. So how can you encapsulate that and put that into a message? I personally think when I see the videos of just someone writing, I think it's really cool. It has the sketch sound of it with the pencil, right? And you could just tell the editors to do that. You tell them exactly what you want. I did that video last year for GCI, figuring out what GCI was for you guys. And that video did really, really well. And I think that's something different because you're right, Mel. So many people are creating the same video, but they don't really have much context behind that video. They're just saying, oh, interest rates dropped. You should strike while the iron's hot. Now's your opportunity. DM me for more information. We'll get you in touch with my lender. It's fucking boring and it's weak. I think that we could all do something a little bit different and a little bit better. So no, really good thought. We're actually going to go to that in a minute. That's going to be a huge part of our conversation. So don't go too far, Mel. Christina, you had your hand up for a second. Would love to hear from you. Also, Stephanie, if you want to chime in, we always love your contributions as well. So Christina, let's go.
Hey guys, I was just going to add exactly what we're talking about, reaching out to sellers. I think creating inventory for these buyers, we're talking about rates, but a lot of these sellers, as we all know, have been waiting because they were intimidated by what that new payment is going to be with higher interest rates. We actually have our marketing team at the Money Store creating a then versus now comparison. So actually, when I'm done with my walk with my dog, I'm going to, I have to put together the APR, but they're going to be putting this together. So we'll get it out to everybody as well, showing that comparison so you can make reels about it. But definitely, the 0.5% interest rate drop, like Ashley said, rates are, even today, rates kind of went up from yesterday. So it's been kind of tricky on our end because rates were really good when they announced the drop. So I would definitely not continue putting emphasis on the 0.5% interest rate drop and trying to redirect the conversation. I would say there are some clients that are a lot more geared and have more confidence just because of what they've been hearing on the media. So getting them in front of a lender is huge right now, but also definitely tackling those sellers again.
Yeah, absolutely. God, I love this. I love this. Stephanie, let's hear from you. What are your thoughts? What are some things that you're seeing and what is your vantage point? And I love that you guys are all with the same company, but each and one of you has a different thought and a different, contribution. So let's hear from you, Steph.
Yeah, sure. I tread very lightly when I talk about the interest rate cut because I know that we had already priced that in, right? Before. And in the last couple days, we've seen rates go up. Yesterday, China announced all of these stimulus things that they're doing for their economy, which we in the US see as inflationary, right? So the market reacted negatively to that. So our rates have gone up. So I tread very lightly. I just always tell everybody, we are in a better place than we were weeks ago. We're going to continue to come down, but it's not going to be in a straight line. Okay, so let's look at at your specific situation and let's run your numbers because I do have buyers who have, I quoted somebody 6.125 and then I was able to lock him in at 5.75. So it's different though for everybody because there's a lot of layers when it comes to mortgage rates. Like there's not just one flat rate available to everybody, right? FICO plays into what rate you get, LTV, the type of program you're using. So there's a lot of hits that come to those rates. So you got to be very careful when you're talking about interest rates because one person might qualify for 5.75 and another person might have to get 6.375 because of their FICO score. So tread very lightly there because it's not one flat rate for everybody.
I absolutely love this. I absolutely love this. So you guys, before we go and shift gears in the conversation and turn it over to you guys, as the soldiers out in the field, do any of you have any questions, contributions, or thoughts provided from what was provided from our lending partners? Anybody have any questions? Want a little bit more information? Want a little bit more, knowledge on the subject? Anybody? Period, Stephanie. Okay. Let's go, Ophelia.
Thank you. So it's projected, well, the conversation is that rates are cutting again, either in November or December. Between now and then, is there going to be another meeting with the feds to announce that? And what is it? Is it strictly based on or favorably based on the unemployment and job market?
I'll jump in. I believe I'll have to double check exactly the Fed, but there's no October meeting, I don't believe. I believe the next meeting is November. So anything leading up to that will be Fed members, that are talking at events or, talking to the press, those kind of things. Of course, they don't want to surprise anybody. They always want to plant seeds and kind of lead the market down the path of what's going to happen at the next meeting. It is anticipated that they're going to cut at the next meeting, which again, I don't have the schedule right in front of me, but I believe will be in November. But again, they'll drop some breadcrumbs along the way so that the market, knows or anticipates what's going to happen. It will be, we'll be getting the September jobs numbers next Friday. So a week from Friday, which will be, of course, a huge component. I think even Friday, we're getting PCE, which is the Fed's favorite measure of inflation. So those reports, so we're going to get a jobs report. I mean, honestly, before the next Fed meeting, we're going to get inflation report this Friday, jobs report next Friday, inflation reports in October, of course, the election in the first week in November, a jobs report in the first, week of November. So there's a lot of data that's going to be coming in the next, 8 weeks, 6 weeks before the Fed meeting. But, so that, could mix things up a little bit. But, inflation reports, jobs reports are trending in the direction that leads us to believe that the Fed is going to continue to cut and we stay on this downward trajectory. You never know exactly what can happen. Lots of geopolitical stuff going on, but typically something geopolitically that's bad, quote unquote, is going to, negatively affect rates, so push them down. So I don't know, just kind of keep looking for the breadcrumbs that the Fed drops and look for these reports. And of course, we'll be here, giving you some commentary around it and what we see.
One last question. So at that Fed meeting, I think it's the November 7th or 8th, whatever his sentiment is, whatever his breadcrumbs is it safe to say from that conversation, you as lenders would start to price in depending on his conversation, right? Then you're like, oh, okay, we are going maybe a quarter or whatever your lingo is, and reduce it.
Yeah.
So the Feds come on and say it. So the reason I'm asking is because I want to see how I can anticipate having that conversation, having that social media presence, and saying we don't have to wait for that November meeting again, like we learned from this last time. What should I be really paying attention to, or maybe just listening to you guys, and then it's like when I strike, right, and say, okay, it hasn't been announced yet, but here we go, right?
Yeah, exactly. What we, in anticipation of what happens in November, again, the inflation report on Friday, the jobs report next Friday are going to be the biggest things that we can take in the next, 10 days and message throughout the month of October leading up to the Fed meeting in November. Those are really going to be pivotal in terms of what happens with rates throughout the fourth quarter. And then again, the election. So let's not wait until the Fed cuts a quarter in November. Let's start messaging now. Let's talk about the inflation report when it comes out on Friday, and it's anticipated to be a good report. Lower inflation, which means, some, pressure off of rates. So, and then the jobs report, let's talk about those. Let's talk about the indicators that are going to lead to lower rates rather than the actual message of lower rates, because by that time it's too late. So that's what we should be talking about.
Yeah, and you said it earlier too, leading indicators versus lagging indicators. And being able to speak to both of those. So I love this. Let's go, Aaron, and then Blessing, you had your hand up. Aaron, let's go to you. What's your contribution?
It's more of a kind of interpretation that I'm getting from what's going on, and how I'm kind of simplifying it is that we have gotten to a point where we've been waiting, and now it's starting to happen. And these buyers have some great opportunities. Like in 2020, when the rates first dropped, it wasn't like the purchase prices started taking off. That wasn't until 2021. So like to what Steph was saying, some people have credit challenges. They should be addressing now. Like people should be making a move now, because those highs seem to be coming down. And how far they go, we don't know. But the indication is that it's all going down. So we all need to be prepared. And like Mel was saying, take advantage of slow times or perceived slow times to get people into houses.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So you guys, I want to share a couple things with you guys, and thank you for all your contributions thus far. There was one article that I saw, but really quick before I show you the article, I want to show you this, you guys. Gives you a good example of how you can do just a napkin presentation. A napkin presentation is a way to simplify what is happening in the marketplace. And what you do is, if you have to think, I got 10 minutes before my flight leaves and I'm sitting at the bar and somebody asks me about the market. Can I illustrate on a napkin really quick what's actually happening in the market? This video is a video that I told the editors to do. I told them exactly how I wanted it written out. That's not my hand, obviously. And they wrote this out. And this is a video about GCI. And if you ever need help understanding what GCI is and how you get paid, feel free to look at this video. But the point is that when we're thinking about creative ways to make a video that consumers can see, that is not just your face saying that rates have come down, this is a way for you. So here's just an example. If you guys have other examples, we're going to go into that in just a moment. But there was an article that I wanted to share with you guys, and I'll drop it in the chat below. Copy here. Cynthia, I know that you're on, Cynthia Peterson. You dropped this article, and I'd love to hear your sentiment on this. But What's great about this article is that it highlights the best time to buy a home is the week of September 29th till October 5th. Now, obviously, this is a national report. This is a national statistic. However, I think there's some validity to this article. What you'll see here is that it's definitely a very balanced time for our market. You'll see here in 2024, home buying season was relatively slow, high prices still, rates remain, or excuse me, mortgage rates limited buyer demand. However, this fall is poised to bring lower mortgage rates and more sale inventory. You can see here that there's going to be 37% more homes on the market, less competition. And what this means is that this is going to be the time that people want to act. Now, after October, we're going to go right into November. We're going to have travel season. We're going to have Thanksgiving. And then we go into December. Whether or not you celebrate Christmas or whatever holidays you celebrate, a lot of people don't want to be in the middle of going through the home buying process in the middle of December. It's just, that's the way it is. That's the way consumers think. So I want you guys to take a look at this. And my hope is that you guys get some really good information from this, maybe one or two key points that you could take from this article and you guys could put it into a video. But Cynthia, I want to turn it over to you. You had your hand up. Thanks for dropping this article. I thought it was a really good article. So Cynthia, let's hear from you, your vantage point, some thoughts from you.
Hey, yeah, I'm so sorry, but I have to be camera off right now. I'm still getting ready. Is that okay?
Do your thing.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So I just dropped in the chat box here what I sent out to clients, and it's really quick and simple. The subject line is going to be, did you know that there's a very special week coming up? The body has, you don't say hi, hello, or dear client. No, nothing of that nature. All you're going to type in is check out this data packed article and reach out if you'd like to set up property tours during this time frame. Then you're going to pop in the link. No salutation, no goodbye, no see you later, just the body, just the link. And it has been getting really good open rates. I've had clients reaching out asking like, why is this? I'm like, well, did you read the article? And they're like, no. It's like, great, once you're done reading the article, let's connect. I think you're going to be so excited to find out about this. And then I go back into stats and data. So for my past 3 clients, I was able to get them at least $10,000 in closing cost credits, and taking it back to, yes, it's a great week to look, but it's also data driven. We're not just giving them words, we're actually showing them data to go along with it. Yeah, so I hope you guys use this and that it helps you get some people off the fence. It certainly has in my case.
I love this. You guys, this was the next part of this, is I want to know, what is working for you right now, from emails, from texts, from videos. What have you created? What are you going to send out to your consumers? Like, what are you working on right now from your consumer dialogue? And I absolutely love this. The great thing about this email is it's very simplistic and it's to the point. The last thing we want to do is make a client read downhill and have to read and read downhill until they actually get to the point. Like, give them the point. Here's in the subject line, did you hear what's going on? No, not, hey, Tom, hope all is well, early fall season, whatever, like, just get to the point. And that's what I love about this. So I want to open it up to you guys. What emails are you sending? Just like Cynthia shared her example, what text messages are you sending to your consumers? And what videos have you created and have you posted online that have really got some traction in this last couple of days, week, 2 weeks, so on and so forth. So would love to hear from you guys. What does that conversation sound like? What does it look like? And what is working from you guys right now? So feel free, take yourself off mute, raise your hand. We're gonna get involved in this conversation because there are some huge opportunities for us to learn from each other. Because I don't know about you guys, how many of you copied that email that Cynthia just dropped, and you guys are going to send it out to your database, right? That's how we all get better. So who has something that they want to share that's working for them right now about the market and where we're at? Ashley, let's go to you.
Good morning. Okay, so I just looked at which reel had the most reach, and it's a program that I use. It's called Dooley. It I think there's a free version. I did pay for the upgraded version because I wanted certain characters, but it's cartoon drawing, just like that napkin thing that you just did. You can do that all in Dually, and you just write out what you want it to say, and it has a hand and it draws it. And it's obviously not your hand, but it's somebody's hand, and it draws it, and it demonstrates like what's happening in the market. So if you have anything complex that you want to make easy, Dually is a great program to use.
I love this. And you guys, if you don't want to pay for Dually, then just use the Shredditors. They can do exactly what you tell them to do, just like Dually. You could even use examples from Dually, like, hey, I want my video to look just like this, and they'll recreate it for you guys. They'll recreate it. If you can spell that for us, Ashley. Thank you. All right, who wants to take the mic? I want to hear from you guys. And if I don't hear from you, I'm just probably going to call on some people randomly. But what's working for you right now? Emails, text, videos, and correspondence with the consumer with what's going on with rates in the marketplace right now. Who wants to volunteer to go? If not, I'm just going to call on a couple people. All right, Vernon, I'm going to call on you really quick, big dog. Vernon, what are you working on right now? What are you prepping? What is already launched? And what's that communication right now with your consumers?
What I've been finding that's working for me, Coach, are the deals of the week emails. So I'm scrubbing the market and looking for properties that have had price improvements, looking for properties that have been on the market for beyond the average number of days, and copying and pasting those links, including them in the body of an email, sending them out to my buyers who are in the market, but are temporarily on the sideline. And the open rate and the response rate has been fantastic. So I think I'm on to something. So those deals of the week email campaigns.
So Vernon, if you can you pull up your screen? I'll give you share screen rights. Can you share an example of what that actually looks like so people can see it? Because obviously we have visual learners, auditory learners, as well as kinesthetic learners. So show us what you're working with here.
Absolutely. Let me get to can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay.
All right, so hold on a second. Let's talk about action, you guys. At 9:03, Cynthia dropped this when did she drop this? She dropped this at 9:01. 2 minutes later, Vernon took that and sent it out to somebody. So I love this. This. So Vernon, great way to take action, but let's hear the deal of the week. I love this, man.
Let's see here. Let me get to it. Okay, here we go. So I sent this out. This was my work from yesterday morning to my the time that I have allocated for client outreach. This is a client out of San Francisco interested in the Vallejo market. So I scrubbed the market, kind of just let them know, staying connected to the market. Here, a list of a few deals of the week. Price improvements, beautiful communities, price improvement, beautiful community, and then let them know that I'm available for showing at their request. This is just getting great engagement. So they'll look into it. Correspondence, they're busy on Saturday, but they'll let us know. Of course, I'll be out of town on Sunday, but this here is triggering a lot of interaction from my clients. I'm getting a tremendous click rate here and response rate. So this is an example of what my deal of the week looks like when I send it out.
Beautiful, beautiful. And the goal is to just get somebody to raise their hand, right? Just get somebody to say, you know, Vernon, tell me a little bit more about this $50,000 price reduction. You know, does it need some work? Is there damage to the house? Just tell me a little bit more. And now all you've done is you've created an engagement. That is the purpose of video. That is the purpose of email, is to get somebody just to raise their hand. So Vernon, I love this. Who else wants to demonstrate, showcase something that they're doing right now that is talking about the market conditions, patterns that are getting people to raise their hand, or a video that you've dropped in this last week that is really picking up some traction? Who else wants to volunteer? So Vernon, I'm going to have you pass the mic to somebody. Let's do it that way. Oh, you take yourself off of mute though.
Let's see who I want to pick on this morning. Thank you, Coach, for passing the baton. Princess, batter up.
There she is. And Vernon, I'm going to have you take over for a quick second, but Princess, it's all you.
All right, big dog. Princess, batter up. What have you been doing this week?
I actually was looking at a video that literally talked about that special week that I need to redo I was supposed to send it out last week, so I'm gonna have to just jump back on it, redo it, and then put it out there so that the people that follow me can see it and get some more inquiries about it. So that's what I'll be working on today.
Excellent. So here's my encouragement to you. Procrastination is for the weak and excuses keep us broke. So as we were intending to do something last week, and you know I got love for you. So we have this mentor-mentee relationship. Most don't know about it, but I'm on your helmet. So what we were putting off last week, let's make sure that we get that, put that into action this week, right? Good stuff. Take the material, you have the material, and let's just put it into action so that we can start to produce a harvest. I'm going to give you the honor and the pleasure of picking on someone and asking them the exact same question. You're up.
All right. Let's see. Look, I see Jacob. So Jacob, I'm gonna pass it over to you.
Jacob, that's perfect because you're a center screen, my man.
I knew I was getting called on. I had a feeling.
Oh, you better know it. You can't be in the middle of the screen with that big, vibrant smile and not get called on, bro. Let's get to it. What have you done this week? What type of outreach has worked for you? Share with us that strategy, and what kind of feedback have you been receiving from your outreach strategy? Rock and roll, brother.
I've just been keeping it simple, doing regular cold calling and letting people know with interest rate drops, we are seeing more buyers come in, which creates leverage for the sellers, which creates, I tell people too that like, just for me, I've been seeing a bunch of people calling, coming back just because of the rate drops. So I'm seeing it firsthand. The market is seeing it firsthand. Other sellers and buyers are seeing it firsthand. More people coming. So that will create more, an increase in sales price. So I'll let people know that. So we could, to basically create like a sense of urgency so we can, you know, begin a search. So I'm calling like older clients to like bring them back in. So that's like pretty much what I've been like working on.
Okay, let's dive a little deeper into that though, Jacob. What does that cadence sound like? What does that flow sound like? How are you tapping into either your buyer or seller database and actually informing them that it's going to draw them that response? What does that cadence look like? Can you share with us what that sequence sounds like?
Yeah, basically just like, hey John, how's it going? And then I say like, have you heard, did you hear about the interest rate drops? I'm sure you heard about them on the news, blah, blah, blah. Then I say, I'm going to be honest with you, John. I've already got about like 15 calls just from past clients saying, hey, Jacob, we heard about the rates. We're ready to start looking again. So I'm just doing my due diligence and going through my my database. And I seen that you've been looking at this home. Because I look at activity as well. So I'll say, I see you've been looking at this home on 123 Main Street. Is there anything I can help you with on that? I've been getting pretty good responses from it too. So I've gotten about like 5 or 6 showings just from going through my list. And I got about 4 people writing offers in the past week and a half.
Let's go, Jacob. You know what, brother? I'm proud of you, man. I'm going to say this amongst the broader group. I see your freaking grind. Keep it going. I knew it was in you from the moment that I met you, and it's good to see that you're actually stepping into it and manifesting it. Let's go.
Appreciate
All right,
it.
Coach, we got you back. Of course, I don't look and sound as handsome and as engaging as you do. So I'm going to give you the microphone.
Listen, you guys, here's the great thing. And I pulled up Jacob's name, and you know, this is reflection for everybody. So I can look at, because Jacob's making a lot of calls through Follow Up Boss, I can look simply at how well he is leaving even a voicemail message, right? Luis, this is Jacob Alley with eXp. I showed you quite a few homes a few months ago in Richmond. Just want to let you know, interest rates have dropped 0.5% for the first time in 4 years, believe it or not. So rates are at a 5.5. I'm getting a lot of older leads come back, asking to see more homes. They are ready to move, so on and so forth. So even in this right here, what I would say, and what I would be able to coach Jacob on, and he can be able to be a reflection, Tom, oh my God, I have some exciting news. This article just dropped about the market. Call me back when you have a second. That's it. I'm not going into 5.5, 5.75, 5.25. Oh my God, Vernon, there's some incredible news about the market that impacts you as a buyer. Call me back. Leave it at that. I want to just throw that line out there and get somebody to say, okay, what is this guy talking about? There was so much excitement and enthusiasm, also curiosity, that I want to call this guy back. So you guys got to rate yourself right now. If someone asked you, tell me a little bit about what happened with the feds recently. Tell me what happened with interest rates. And on a scale from 1 to 10, how would you rank that presentation, that communication, that dialogue? And I want you to rank yourself right now, and I'll pause. On a scale from 1 to 10, the reality of what's actually happening with recent rate cuts and the Fed and everything that's going on that we're speaking about, where would you rank your dialogue on a scale from 1 to 10? 1 being god awful and 10 being I'm killing it. Where would you rank yourself right now? I'll pause for a second. Rank yourself. In your mind or on a piece of paper, rank yourself. All right, cool. All of you should be able to rank yourself. Now, how do you know? And what I mean by that, Melody, if you're ranking yourself an 8, Vernon, if you're ranking yourself an 8, 7, you're ranking yourself a 7, Estefania, excuse me. How do you know? How do you know? What information tells you that that communication is that high? Melody, let's hear from you. Why do you rank yourself at an 8? What leads you to believe that? Now, I'm not doubting you, but I want to know what leads you to believe that it's at an 8 right now.
I follow the market. I do make it a point to read articles and read all of the newsletters that come through my email for about 10 or 15 minutes a day. I'm constantly scanning things. I'm watching what other realtors are talking about. I follow a lot of lenders on social media, so I'm constantly taking notes. I'm saving posts. And even though I don't talk about the market a lot on my Instagram, I know how to articulate it very well with my clients. And I know how to kind of create that energy of enthusiasm and opportunity in their minds. But I think a weakness that I have is that I don't talk about it a lot on my social media. So I could definitely get better at that. And that's why previously I was asking, what other realtors are doing to talk about the market and articulate it on social, because I think that that's really important that we're doing that at a high level.
All right, so stay with me, Mel. So you told me why you rank yourself at an 8. When you're communicating that information with the consumer, what feedback have you gotten from your consumer, meaning appointments, hands up, they're saying, yes, I love that article, thank you for that information. What feedback from your consumers have you gotten that have led you to believe that that dialogue and all the knowledge you have is working for you?
I usually get, I don't really get a lot of objections.
Okay.
I'm not getting a lot of, I'm getting a lot of like, is that right? That's so interesting. Wow, I didn't know that. I'm getting a lot of those responses. I'm getting a lot of thank you so much for the information. When I send out my market update emails on a weekly basis and my deal of the weeks, I don't necessarily get a ton of responses, but I do get people that are definitely scanning it, opening up the email 4, 5, 6, 7 times, reading it over and over again. I can tell that they're kind of monitoring the things that I'm talking about and the things that I'm saying.
Okay. So they're looking at it as a resource, and you feel that it's piquing curiosity within your consumer, within your database.
Yeah. But of course, you always have those like jerks that like walk into your open house and they're just like super, on their high horse and they want to challenge you a little bit. So I had this open house for a fixer-upper on my street that I've listed. On Saturday, I did an open house on it, and there was a neighbor that walked in, and you could just tell this guy was a know-it-all. And he was like, this it just isn't the best time to buy, And I said, well, rates have dropped, as you know, and there's a lot of buyers that were on the fence earlier this year that are getting off of the fence. And he was like, 0.5%, that's nothing. That doesn't mean that the market has improved at all. 0.5% is nothing at all. I don't see that as an improvement. And so I'm just kind of like, with people like that, I tend to let it go. I'm like, okay, yeah, I see your point. I see your perspective. And I didn't really want to get into it with this guy because I could tell he was just like not going to agree with anything I was saying. So you always get some of those people and you got to kind of let it go.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. Yeah, so Mr. Stranger, $36,000 a year thrown away to somebody else's mortgage. That's probably the better option, right? right? Because it's average rent in this area is $3,000. So it makes sense for the buyers that are actually not wanting to pay rent anymore and they want to have home ownership and equity, kind of like you did, right? Was it the perfect time when you bought your home? Probably not. There was probably some odds stacked against you. So I believe it's a perfect time for a consumer when it's ready for them. So go ahead and take a look around the house, dickhead. Then we'll talk to you later. It's just like, literally, you got to kill them with that type of mentality. And I'm so glad that you're saying this, because I said this on Monday. Get ready for Thanksgiving dinner. Get ready for your aunties, your uncles, your cousins, your friends to tell you about how shitty the market is, because that conversation is coming. And ooh, I cannot wait. Pass me the gravy and let me share with you the reality of what is actually happening. So Mel, really good stuff. Let's go to Ophelia.
Can I just say one thing? Throw an emoji in the chat if you wish you could have an earpiece in your ear with Elias in it talking to you during an open house. Just throw an emoji in the chat real quick, because this guy with the comebacks, like, he is the quickest. And I'm like, damn, I wish I would have thought of that.
But think about this, you guys. And I'm not doing this. This is not a ploy for this type of platform that we have now, but I do want to share this with you. So we have a new platform. It's called Shiloh. And since we launched this program, which was just a few weeks back, you guys have made 1,637 calls through Follow Up Boss that are now recorded. I could go in here and I could rate any of these calls. I can pull it up by like 3 to 5, 3 to 4, whatever I want to do, right? And I could then go in and listen to these calls. Imagine this. Imagine you go through your database and you're making all of this sweep of, I want to share with you what's going on with the market. Some things have changed that are going to impact you as a buyer. Cool. And then you start recording those conversations. And then you go back to it and be like, okay, I rated myself an 8 or a 9 or a 10. And now I'm going to listen to my calls. Does that hold validity? Is it still at an 8, 9, or a 10? Or man, I'm about a 6.5. There's some things that I need to say and improve upon. That's why, you guys, making your calls through Follow Up Boss. If you're on this team, if you're not on this team, this does not apply. So forgive me for a moment. Make your calls through Follow Up Boss. So then you could grab some popcorn. You could schedule a coaching session with me, and we could sit down and we could just listen to how well you perform on the phones. And I promise you this, you're going to find ways to get better. And when you get better, that means that you make more appointments. When you make more appointments, you show more homes. And when you show more homes, guess what? You're going to get more people in a contract. And that's just the way the cookie crumbles. So I want to encourage everybody to start making that. Even if you're clunky right now and you're a sandwich, it's all right. Create a body of work that allows you to monthly analyze to where you have so much rhythm and flow, and you have so much cadence, and you have so many great rebuttals for all the objections that you're going to handle. And then what you do is you create a catalog of great moments of Ophelia. Man, I said this really well. Princess, you say this really well. So now you have a catalog of all the great moments in your phone calls. You also remove all the things that didn't move that conversation forward. You remove them all, right? You have Ophelia's highlight moments, highlight phrases. This is what got that last person to really engage. Here's my top questions I asked. But if you don't have that data, you never have a way to analyze yourself. Right now, what you're doing is you're self-analyzing. And my hope is that you're looking at your results. But if you can actually watch your own tape, you guys, mind blown what is possible. Ophelia, let's go to you. You had your hand up, and then Vernon, back to you.
It threw me off for a second. I was going to say the way I was rating myself is that it's the response, just very same as Melody, where they were like, oh yeah. But I saw that if I did go a little bit deeper with statistics and the data and who I follow and who I listen to, it does get them to talk to the loan officer, right? Because I'm not the professional in that. I mean, I'm a professional, but my strength is more in negotiation, contracts, and scheduling. Let's get you with the numbers person who will be able to really dive deeper, excuse me, and dive deeper. So I noticed that when I do get to that point, I'm able to make that handoff easier. So there is a lot of more communication happening with my lenders, where I rated 7, 8. I was like, God, everybody's an 8. I was like, but I think in my case, it's that I can't articulate it that well in Spanish. I start to like get tongue tied. I gotta throw in the English, the Spanglish comes into play. And then I get all insecure and I'm like, yeah, did that make sense? And they're like, no, because it was like, you know, a whole mess of crap in there. And so that's where I was like, yeah, I need to more Spanish on my end, because again, I do have a lot of Spanish speaking clients.
You
So-
should do a video with Stephanie, and the moment where you have a challenge articulating something, say, "Cómo se dice?" And then Stephanie chimes in, and then it goes back to you, and you guys have like this really cool flow to where like it's like spinach or Spanglish, and then the spinach, the Spanish, and like you guys have this really good flow. But I think that would be cool.
That would be pretty cool. Stephanie, you up for it? We'll have to make sure to have like.
You know she's up for it. You know she's up for it.
She really is. She's such a road dog. Like she came out that day for Fiestas Patria. She's like, I'm down, let's go. And we had a really good outcome there, which by the way, just gotta finish up all those phone calls, Stephanie. Don't worry, they're coming.
Yeah, I love it when you're doing like this Spanglish, like "Cómo se dice?" Like I don't know what, and then she hops in, and then you guys have like this cool dialogue back and forth. I think that's cool, and I think that would land for a lot of people that they communicate in a similar way, right? And so, good stuff, Ophelia. I appreciate your contribution. Let's go to me, and then we'll go Vernon.
Good morning. I'm currently reading a book on communication, specifically in sales. And Mel's comment brought up a point that I just read about. When we have those difficult people or those know-it-alls, it's not that we want to know them or out asshole them. It's more of politely showing them how they're missing some information. And that's where we add in our value. So I just wanted to say, give yourself a little more grace, because like when we come here 3 times a week, hearing from lenders, hearing from other professionals, I use all that shit in my field. So like, I don't want to be conceited and say I'm a 10 at these rebuttals, but I damn near am, because I'm equipped by coming to the gym 3 times a week at least, on top of all the other stuff that I'm doing on my own. But being able to articulate that to any of these difficult people, we can all do that because we're armed with that. Whereas a lot of these agents really aren't. Like I catch up agents in stupidity on a daily basis, but it's because they're not having these type of conversations. And you guys, we are on this team by showing up here 3 times a week at the minimum. Like we can articulate it, and we can go back at them with as much ammunition as we need. We know this shit. We're in it. But yeah,
that's right.
My encouragement for the day.
Man, well, I appreciate that. And listen, you guys all have enough to be very dangerous. It's whether or not you're using what you are learning in these. Like, and I'm not saying take away everything. You don't have to be an expert on the jobs report and CPI report. You don't need to do that. You need to be an expert on 1 or 2 things that you can communicate effectively. You can throw your line out there and be able to reel people into that communication. Vernon, let's hear from you. You got a hand up, and then we'll wrap sesh.
Shoot, Coach, I lowered my hand because I think a little further away from the point when I raised my hand. So I will pass in the interest of time so that we can close everything in on time.
Okay, cool. I want Ashley, I don't know if you can, but Ashley shared a video with me the other day, and it's 5 minutes long. We're not going to show it here, but it was a really powerful video. I've actually referred back to it a couple of times, and I want to close out today, and I want to share this with you because I didn't open it up with this. And it says, your sense of completion is not the cars, it is not the money, it is not the things. The effect that you have on others is the most valuable currency there is. How you show up, how you serve this world, and you are ready and able to do beautiful things in this world. And all of you have this unique intrinsic quality within you to go out and change and impact and make, a splash in this industry and change people's lives. You all have that ability to do it. Some are just doing it at a higher level, but you guys have to remember, like, you guys have this valuable currency, and it's the way that we connect with consumers. Now, if you don't like that, if you don't like people, you're probably in the wrong industry, but you guys have this beautiful ability to go out there and make connections and know that that's the currency, right? The end result, the things that we have, that is the end result of the great job that we did for our consumers. So I want you guys to remember that. We are all in the connection business, right? And connection comes from effective communication. Right. And if you feel like you are having a disconnect and you're not getting through to consumers, maybe your messaging isn't compelling enough. Maybe you're not slowing down, asking them the right type of questions that elicit the type of information that you truly need to be able to create to fill a gap, to fill a need, to provide something that they didn't know that they needed until they met you. Effective communication is the way that you're going to truly connect with your consumers. So the fact that Damien is reading the book on communication, there's tons of books out there, but my sentiment for everybody is to focus on that and say, how well am I connecting with somebody? You've all been in a dating scenario before, and think about that. All you want to do is connect with somebody enough for them to say, hey, yeah, let's go out and have a date sometime and hang out a little bit more. All I want you guys to do is focus on what you guys have in you and your innate ability. And if sales and connection are new to you, then what you do is you come to rooms like this, then you go out there and practice. Then you get into rooms and you read and you practice and you read and you practice until it becomes natural, right? And for some of you, you might not be there yet, but it's okay, because this is a work in progress. This is why we keep it moving towards our dreams, goals, and vision. This is constant movement, this is motion, and this is momentum. And that's why we're here, you guys. So I appreciate all of you guys being here today. Thank you for all your contributions at a very, very high level. Fingers crossed I don't have to have surgery. I go in for my CT tomorrow, so fingers crossed. And once again, Ashley, wishing you a very happy birthday somewhere coastal. I could just feel it. Have a very, very happy birthday. Thank you guys for being here, and keep it moving towards your dreams, goals, and vision. Peace.
Peace.